right, welcome everybody. Here we are, our favorite time of the week, Sunday, with Global Strangeness. Three strangers brought together by the love of all things creepy and spooky and weird in the world. So Scott, who just ran away, Jeremy, and myself, Deborah. We have been together. Has it been a year yet? It's been almost a year, right?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that. Not sure.
Getting there anyway. It's got to be close. So not quite strangers anymore, just strange. So this week was Jeremy's pick, and of course we came up with some cryptids. We're doing the cryptids of the UK, which is kind of cool.
He said European, correct?
I said European, yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, God damn, I am fucked on this one.
Well, I just searched of the UK, so maybe I thought it was the whatever.
Deborah's motherland.
So anyways, well then, yeah, I might be going all over the place. That's okay. We got some strange monsters from wherever they are from. So I don't know, you guys, when you guys were researching this, was there ones that you have heard a lot about, or?
Not that I heard a lot about, but I actually did some good research. There was some fun shit I found.
Yeah.
Scott did his homework for once, Deborah. Scott did his homework for once.
I'm not even gonna, make fun of anyone because I did my normal 5 minutes before the thing. So I'm not even gonna throw stones. However, I did find a lot of the stuff, I mean, it's the same, right? Different names, slightly different stuff, but very similar to a lot of our own cryptids, right? So
I mean, for the most part, I got some cool shit. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds good. Well, so anyways, I guess I'll get started. So I'm going to talk about the beastly goings on at Renwick. So
do you need me to pull something up?
I don't think there was a picture for this one. I don't remember.
Okay.
So the village of Renwick, it's in Eden Valley, and it's mostly of 18th and 19th century appearance. So it's this really cool place with really old stone buildings and stuff, and really old settlement. And the first church was probably built by Celtic missionaries around 600 CE. What does that mean, CE?
Common Era. It's the new AD.
Got rid of BC.
What?
It's the new AD because they want to make it not about religion.
Okay, I see. But it's AD. That's what it translates to. CE.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think no. CE is BC now, right?
No, it's BCE and CE.
Oh,
now.
okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so CE.
Man, it's stay player.
All right. Just
because we live in the common era, Scott. The common era.
Okay. Oh, that
Maybe
makes
you do.
So anyway, this monster, their trouble started around 1733. So this is a real, recent story here. So when I guess this old church though was being pulled down, and I thought it was kind of cool. As they were pulling it down, this huge beast, which was resembling a large bat, flew out of the ruins. And some people said a bat. Some people were describing something with scales all over it, and looked like a dragon. Anyways, it flew out of the ruins, and it started to give the residents trouble. And it was hanging around the town, and they decided that the beast was a basilic, and the locals decided that the best course of action was to keep out of its way. Obviously, you have this dragon thing trying to kill you. I guess you would. And then until this one guy called John Tallentire, he killed it with a rowan wooden staff. So I don't know if you say Rowan or Rowan, but Rowan, of course, has historically been regarded as having the power to ward off evil. So it's like a special stick. He killed it with it. And his entire family from there on after this Tallentire guy, and his family were rewarded with exemption from tithes in perpetuity. So they never paid taxes, basically, ever again, because he killed the monster that was in this.
Well, that's sweet. Did his family get those credits too?
They did.
Oh,
Nobody had to pay taxes ever. So that was totally worth taking out your magic stick and killing the bat for everybody.
Wish my great-great-grandfather killed a dragon.
Right? So anyways, most current stories stick to 1733, but it seems likely the event took place in this previous century. And there's been, you know, some people, because he killed it, but there is people that still say that it's they, you know, see it flying around yet at night. So people, when they're around, because there's still old historic buildings and stuff, you can, you know, walk around at night, and people say they are still sighting it, even though he killed it all that time ago. Its spirit remains. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I've heard of the owlman. It's definitely an interesting one. It's kind of funny because that's one of Batman's villains is the Court of Owls, which have like owlmen in them. So,
Well, this isn't like an owl, though. This is a dragon thing. It's a
you
bat.
just said owlman. You said it looked like an owl though.
A bat. It looks like a bat, but it's got scales and things on it.
What the fuck? They putting in shit over there, man. That's they're taking those mushrooms in the forest, I think, right, Scott?
I heard dragon too, dude. I think you're taking the mushroom.
I wish.
Oh, and maybe we should all take some. I don't know.
Well, you got to send them. They're legal where you're at.
Well, Scott, get your passport. We're gonna go stay at Deborah's house and go on a weekend mushroom trip.
Oh,
I
God.
gotta get a passport one of
I'm
these
the most
days.
boring person. You guys would be, yeah. You know what I mean?
Party at Deborah's house. Everybody who's watching.
So then the next thingy that I thought I would talk about is the Lou Dub monster. So I do have a picture of this guy. It's the little hippopotamus looking guy.
Okay, yeah, I got that one. Let's share the old screen, feather.
I think he's cute. I don't think
God
he
damn
looks
it.
like a monster, but
There we go. Hippo beaver.
see, he's like,
Oh, he's so cute.
I know,
I want one as a pet.
right? He doesn't look like a monster. They called him a monster. Anyways,
Till he eats your baby.
maybe. I don't know. Probably can scratch a little bit with those claws too. So, anyways, he's a little lake monster from Lou Dub, I guess is the name of the lake. So he was allegedly hooked by a schoolmaster, Alphonsus Mullaney, and his son while out fishing in the 1960s. So this is a pretty recent story when they hooked this cute little thing. So Mullaney described it as an aggressive animal the size of a cow or an ass. That's what I thought was cool. Is that this thing's big. Like it's not. It looks really, you know, cute, like it would be a little thing, but it's actually a great big thing. So it's the size of a cow or an ass, and said it had short, thick legs with small ears and white pointed horn on its snout. And it was a dark gray in color, covered with bristles or short hair, like a pig. And the line broke on their fishing line or whatever, and so the thing escaped. And the Mullaneys later returned to the area with a posse of armed men, but they couldn't find any trace of him. Thank God, because why would you go and kill him? That's terrible. But anyways, he's been sighted multiple times. He's been sighted again in the same lake, and supposedly had been seen before in other lakes as early as 1912. So whether there's more than one or whether this guy actually travels, I don't know. But he's been sighted in more than one lake around there.
Well,
And-
look how cute he is. You know he gets laid. There's gotta be more than one of them.
Right? So it's been classified as an ultra mysterious beast. I'm like, okay. But scientists put that name on. But according to Dale A. Drinan, the easiest explanation would be that the monster was an oversized wild boar which had entered the water when it smelled the bait. What do you think? Is that a boar? And obviously,
I don't know about that. I think it's probably more likely that there's a hippopotamus. Canadian hippopotamuses.
a Canadian has. That's why he's got the hair all over him.
Don't well, I guess hippos have like very short fur, right? Like a seal.
Do they have fur at all? I didn't think they did.
Maybe not.
I mean, yeah, 'cause I feel like there's something where that someone had to get like a hippo hair or something like that, like some movie or something.
But he's got the little rhino thing. So could it be like some sort of, you know, key party going on between the rhinos and the hippos, and they had a baby that stays in the water.
I mean, if ligers exist, then why
Yeah.
can't
Good point.
rippos? Why can't rippos? We're calling them rippos. It's official.
I
And
think that
rhinos and hippos are pretty similar too. I mean, one
Right?
lives in the water, but
I mean, if one of them was drunk, they probably wouldn't recognize the back end of one from one of their own kind. So
right? And hippos, like, I mean, they're in the water all the time, so yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my theory.
it would have to be a non-aggressive hippo though. Like I love watching
Mm.
hippo attack
Hippos are
videos.
super aggressive, but this one,
hippo attack.
Could
videos,
be-
God.
I don't know how populated Canada is. I've never been there. So like this
It's pretty
lake that-
populated. It's like America, basically.
yeah.
Population
I don't know about that.
population wise, yeah. The cities have a lot of population. The running areas, it goes
Yeah,
down.
the
like,
cities do, but we have cities everywhere. Like, do
Well-
people go to this lake a lot? Because if it's like, you got a fucking 100,000 people going to this thing every month, maybe I won't believe. But
Well,
if, like,
It's
That's
in
how
England, dude.
populated is this lake? Oh,
Interesting.
England. Yeah,
it's in
that's
Ireland. No,
populated.
this is in Ireland. This
Ireland, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
None of these are in Canada. Like, yeah,
Ireland's not the UK, so
that makes sense. I was like, why are you talking about Canadian population all of a sudden? What the hell?
I got confused. I thought we were doing 4 episodes
Yeah.
ago.
Oh, Scott.
So, anyways, that's it for that guy. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was wolvers. I thought they sounded kind of cool.
Wolfers or woogers?
Wolvers, so Wulber. So it's
Oh, I know wolfers. Yeah.
werewolves.
Should we
basically.
watch the TikTok or after?
It's up to you if you want to.
Well, you're leading the story. Which one do you want to go before?
Okay, well, I'll just read first, and then we can talk. We can do it after. You can probably
Okay.
hear my dog in the background, so sorry about that. That's another monster. So this is like from Shetland. I think they're in a few different places. But so it's like really rich in mythology, of course, and legends. And one of the otherworldly creatures that are said to inhabit the lands and surrounding areas of Shetland is the wolver. So the wolver is similar to a werewolf in that it's part human and part wolf in appearance. Unlike most werewolves, it's not a shapeshifter. So it's not like the full moon comes out and these things turn into a wolver. They're always this beast. Like that's just all they are. So it's never been human, and it doesn't turn into a wolf-like creature. It doesn't limit or anything. It's got a body like a man. It's covered in short brown hair with a wolf's head, and it's this permanent state of being. And there's another marked difference between the traditional werewolf and that of the wolver. It's where a werewolf is a creature to be feared. Because it's mean and will kill you. The wolver is completely opposite, and it's noted for having a kind heart. I thought that's cool. Their werewolves are kind.
So it's
Does
the
it-
vegan werewolf.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So as long as people leave him alone, they don't mess around with him, they'll fuck him. He doesn't pose any risk to humans, and he's happy to live alone in the cave in Shetland and enjoy a peaceful life. When he's seen, he's fishing on a rock known as the wolver stain. And if he does intervene in the lives of people, it's to perform generous and kindly acts. And he's known to have helped lost travelers, going them the way back to the villages and towns and whatever. And he's left fish on the windowsills of poor families. Like, he's so nice. And if he learned that a family was facing hardship and was without food, he would come for and supply them with a whole bunch of fish and whatever, foraging stuff for them. And if a family was faced with sickness and death, he could be seen paying his respects outside their home. So he'd even come to the funeral. So anyways, so then I got this little video clip, and it's supposed to be the werewolves of.
Okay, let me get this going. Share sound.
I listened
Remind
to-
me, I have to unmute Jeremy when he gets back. I guess I have to ask to unmute him. Here we go. Is this the video?
Oh, this might be a little bit different, but oh no, I think it's the same. So first of all, have you guys heard wolves before?
Not in real life, I haven't.
So I have. It does sound different than a wolf, but
What are you drinking, a Slurpee?
yeah, it's like freaking summer here. It's beautiful.
They have 7-Elevens in
Yeah.
Canada? Jesus Christ. Where's the world coming to?
I went and picked up a Slurpee and the winning lottery ticket, so.
Good luck, dude.
Our next thing will be live in location. We'll be flying there in a private jet.
I can't buy lottery tickets here.
Research shows nostalgia.
Oh, that's weird.
We
It kind of
almost got
it was
a
really
Liberty.
loud at the end of the one I had originally.
Huh?
I said it was really loud. There was a really loud one at the end of the original clip.
Yeah, that showed us a Liberty clip. I don't know why the TikTok wouldn't play, but like I even logged in and it was still zeroed out. Like there was no. Okay, I'm asking to unmute you. I'm probably fucked this up so bad. Okay. What the hell is going on? Is that your last one?
Oh yeah, that's it. Sorry. On to you. Take it away.
Hold on a sec.
Someone we lost Jar.
He went to walk the dogs.
Hmm.
Some bitch. Technical difficulties, people. Task manager.
I should help. I am the resident, tech person.
Yeah.
The expertise as I just showed everyone.
Son of a bitch, dude. How do I can't I'll get rid of this shit. Close doc. Let's try that. Shit, I think we might have to. Hold on, let me try. Nope. I can't get to the fucking pictures and shit.
What
Okay, here
are
we
you
go.
doing,
Exit
Scott?
full screen.
Jesus.
There we go. Okay, I am ready to go, fellas. So I thought I would start this one off. This is not a European cryptid. This is a cryptid who is spying on the Europeans. A little short news clip, kind of fun. You guys have probably already seen it, but
Spy.
air sound.
Swimming his way across Scandinavian waters, that so-called Russian spy whale is on the move.
So he's in Sweden as we are speaking right now. He seems to be trending south still, but if he keeps on this path, he'll be in Denmark pretty soon.
The beluga was first spotted off the coast of
Look at how
Norway
cute
4
that
years
little
ago,
fucker
wearing
is.
a camera strapped to a custom harness stamped Equipment St. Petersburg. He's nicknamed Vladimir, a combination of the Norwegian word for whale and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
All signs point to the fact that he was in a Russian military program.
Of course, Russia isn't the only country that trains animals for espionage. The CIA
I thought
famously
this was
launched
pretty cool.
Project Acoustic Kitty during the Cold War, implementing surveillance gear into a house cat to spy on targets.
So they think, what if we get a cat and use that to gather intelligence? So they put a speaker in its ear, a receiver in the base of its skull, and they try to train the cat and go places they want it to go.
You can't really train a cat, though.
This is the old saying, I have a couple myself. It's very, very difficult. So ultimately it was unsuccessful.
From using carrier pigeons to transmit messages during the First World War to robotic snakes used as surveillance in the Gulf War. But Hovladimir's style isn't covert, it's friendly, a local celebrity along his travels, performing tricks on demand for a price. And that's become a big problem.
He's displaced, he's out of habitat. He now relies on humans for social interaction. It has been dangerous. He's been hit by boats
Look at that
multiple
little cutie
times. He's had
patootie.
fishing hooks caught in him.
Advocacy group One Whale hopes to create a sanctuary off Norway's coast to rehabilitate and ease Vladimir into a well-deserved retirement after a life of mystery and possible espionage. Richard Madden, CTV News,
You
Washington.
need to leave animals alone.
So what do you think about the spy whale? You think
It's adorable.
that was Vladimir Putin's way of like winning the Ukraine war? He had this spy whale who loves
I think
people.
it was a smarter idea than the cat. Who the hell thought they were going to get a cat to do what they want?
I thought that I heard that story earlier in the week, and I thought that was a cool one. So he actually had a little harness with the fucking camera attached. How the fuck do you harness a whale? That's what I want to know.
It's not very nice. And the cat having the thing, you know, like that's not nice. Leave him alone.
They made it seem like the cat actually had shit drilled in his head. That was
Right?
kind of
That's
weird.
not
Yeah.
good. Like,
Okay. So now I will get into my European cryptids here. So this story sort of ties into Hellhounds. But have you guys ever heard of the Battle of Mons, World War One?
I believe so, but it's been a while.
So this took place in the Great War, 1914, World War One. It was on August 23rd, 1914. And the battle kicked off. It only lasted for 9 hours. So during that time, the British Army and Canadians lost about 1,600 men, and the Germans were supposedly to have lost 2,000 to 5,000 men. They don't have an exact head count, but even with the heavier loss to the Germans, the British had to retreat just because the Germans had that front line fucking covered. And the retreat lasted for 2 weeks, and they were chased for 250 miles. So by the time of September 6th through the 9th, soldiers on both sides started noticing that they were being hunted. Later accounts would give similar description of a huge wolf-looking creature. And then soldiers would get a glimpse of this creature only if there was artillery fire, or someone shot a flare overhead to light up the battlefield as they were retreating. They would, out of nowhere, both sides, Germans and the British Army, they would hear their people start shooting the machine guns and screaming as they were being eaten to death, essentially. During World War One, it wasn't uncommon for wolves to come in and eat the dead and injured. Like during the 1917 Eastern Front, the wolf problem got so bad that both sides, the Soviets and the Germans, had a ceasefire, and they both went and hunted all of the wolves to extinction in the Eastern Front. But there are no wolves near Mons in Belgium. So that was what was like super crazy about this situation. So we have a Canadian war veteran, F.G. Newhouse, who published his accounts of the creatures, stating that they were created by a German doctor, Dr. Gottlieb Huckmuller. And he said that he successfully transplanted human brains from mental institution patients into wolves. And that resulted in these wolves fucking like killing everybody.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, you had a highly decorated German officer, Captain Younger, who eventually published that these wolves came from an old German legend, and they were called the Teufel, which translates to the devil dogs, roughly. This is eventually what they started to call U.S. Marines when World War II kicked off. Either way, both sides of the story kind of reported this hellhound that came in and fucking killed everybody. So let me throw that picture up.
That is creepy AF if it was human brains being put into the
I
wolf.
didn't do the story very much justice. Like, that is definitely one to look into, but they said that this was like a huge dog, like horse size canine that was coming in and like fucking everyone up. And the crazy thing is, right, like this is World War One, and both sides reported it. So, and there was in the Battle of Mons, there was also another report of angels that came down during that time and kind of separated them. But that was later found out that like the fucking newspapers were just full of shit. So. Okay. So my next one is an Irish crocodile. Have you guys ever heard of an Irish crocodile?
Is it the? I mean, I've heard the Dungoblin hooter, but I don't think that's what you're telling us about.
It's the Dubahar shoe. So Irish crocodile goes in a couple different titles. It's the Dubahar shoe, which translates into waterhound. This thing is also known as the king otter. And let me pull the picture
I know this
up
one.
real quick, because this guy's a little cuter patooter too. Okay. So that's what we're dealing with.
Pennywise as a fucking otter. Jesus.
Oh, he's a little cutie. Okay. So he's described as a carnivorous creature that is the shape and size of a crocodile, but he has the appearance of an otter. This creature actually dates back to like ancient times before they wrote shit down. Like, so Irish folklore before the church came in and fucked everything up. It's
church.
mainly spotted. Yeah, we need to go to war with the Vatican. Let's get on board with that, everybody. It's mainly spotted in lakes in Ireland, but there have been some other spottings in like super deep rivers. The cool thing about this thing is it hunts in groups of two. So it's like the mama and the dada little cuter batooter that goes out and they fucking hunt together, and they have this real high-pitched squeal when they're trying to call each other to go in for the hunt. They're said to be extremely aggressive hunters, so they're not afraid of humans at all. Like they will chase your ass on ground and drag your ass back in the water. The first documented story came from 1684. So the first time they wrote it down, 1684, but the most believable story comes from 1722, the most believable ancient story. And this is when Grace Connolly, who lived in Glendalough, was said to go to the lake. She was bathing in the lake, and then she was attacked by one of these Dubahar Jews. And when her husband returned that evening, he saw the creature sleeping on top of his wife's dead body, just sort of like hanging out on the shore, sleeping on his wife. And then he, I guess, pulled out his dagger and killed the creature. So this story isn't just a story by itself. What makes it super interesting is that they actually have a picture of the creature being slain by a dagger on this bitch's grave that's still there from 1702 or whenever.
Damn.
Let me-
I mean, at
Grave
first glance,
one.
at first glance, he probably thought, "Why is the neighbor mine on top of my wife?" But you know, you
Oh,
get a
this
little
thing's-
closer.
This thing's as big as a crocodile, dude. But that's her
Mm.
grave. And then this is, so you can kind of see the hand and the
We can't see
dagger.
anything.
Oh, I thought I shared screen. Technical difficulties, people. Okay, grave one. This is her grave. So it's still there today. You can go to Ireland and see it if you want to. And then this is, I stopped sharing.
At least you knew at that time.
This is the dagger going into the Dagon Hooter or whatever
Oh,
it's
that's
called.
cool.
It's
Go
really,
back to-
really cool because this shit's from like 1702.
And that's at the top of that tombstone we just saw.
Yeah. And I mean, there's been tons of other sightings, so I don't know. I think there could be some, you know, Beaver King weird animal that I don't know how populated Ireland is. You know, I mean, could that kind of shit slip past? Maybe, maybe not. I think in America it could.
Maybe possible, but
Okay. So this third one, Jeremy should get a kick out of. So this one's just for fun. You've heard of the snipe hunt, right, Jeremy?
of course.
Okay, so you at least saw the King of the Hill episode where
Yes.
Joseph and Bobby knock out the endangered crane.
Classic.
Classic episode. So this is very similar to that. It's a fun joke to play on new and young hunters in Europe. It's Europe's version, like part of Europe. Europe's more than I knew existed. I didn't think all these countries were connected to Europe. But the dahu is said to be a mountain goat that lives around Switzerland, France, and Italy. So the creature resembles a normal goat, except it's evolved so like one side of its legs are shorter than the other.
Oh, I've seen this thing. Yeah.
And so it takes two hunters, two dummies, to go up and hunt this thing, and they'll walk up the mountain, and the person behind the dude who's making the ridiculous call, he's gonna have a sack to catch this dahu. And then the other dude's up there making whatever dumbass call the real hunters tell him to make. And then it's supposed to happen where the dahu hears your call and he looks over, loses his balance, and then rolls down the hill, and you're supposed to catch him in the fucking sack. So I got a picture of him. I just thought that was a fun one to share. There we go. So this is a taxidermied dahu.
Oh, he's cute. Really cute.
Yeah, see how he's got shorter legs on one side? Totally real.
Oh yeah.
Totally real. Even though it's a blurry photo. Okay. And then I've got my last one. I could not do European cryptids without doing a Christmas cryptid. And I've found a new kick-ass Christmas cryptid. So this is called the battallist. It hangs out around the southern central Alps, and it's said to be a creature with a huge head covered in goat skin, two small horns on the top of his head. He has glowing red eyes and a huge mouth to eat all the naughty children. There are like a bunch of renditions of this creature throughout Italy and surrounding areas in the Alps, but they have a parade for this guy every Epiphany. So in the town of Andrista, they managed to catch this cryptid every fucking year and lead him down Main Street. And I have a video to prove it, with a rope around his neck. And then the old man, the young man, and the old woman, witches and musicians, march his ass down to fucking downtown City Hall. And then the battallist starts telling everybody the gossip in town. So everybody sins and schemes on the community. And then they set into motion the battallist feast with singing, dancing, and feasting. And this one was cool too, because the children all go door to door begging for either cornbread or salami. So it's like this region's trick-or-treating. And then on the second night of the Feast of Epiphany, they released the battallist for the following year. So let me get this going. I actually got one of these parades. Make sure I'm sharing sound. Jesus Christ. Hold up. I got shit going. Okay, here we go. Zoom. Sound.
Voi che mi ascoltate.
Giving the gossip and shit.
No, non parlo delle verità che di solito racconto nella mia.
I thought it was a fun little tradition.
So they're like tattling all the gossip that they know around town.
Yeah.
The guys do. Oh,
originally the battallist was supposed to tell everybody, but now they've had a translator. He writes a list. It's a cool little Christmas, late Christmas Epiphany, but cool little feast time.
I imagine a lot of divorces starting the next day.
I was just thinking, like, doesn't that just cause a whole bunch of fighting at Christmas time? Like, spilling everyone's secrets? Merry Christmas, everyone. Your wife just cheated on you, and that guy drained your bank account.
Yeah, it's probably more like political shit and fun jokes and stuff.
I mean, it'd be easy if they did in Alabama, because then just be like, yeah, we're all related. Bye.
And goodbye, all Alabama listeners.
Right? Yeah. There we go.
They'll live.
I don't know. I thought that was fucking cool, dude. I'm gonna remember that one for Christmas. Have you guys heard of the fucking log from, I think it's Cameroon? The log that the Yule log that shits out presents?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's fun finding all these weird Christmas feasts and celebrations. Pretty cool.
Is that all yours, Scott?
That's all me, buddy.
All right, then I'll do my first one, I guess. Bring up our worm buddy.
Okay, let me get this. Worm buddy. Hold up, dude. I don't have a worm buddy. I've got J Turtle, J Monkfish, J Batman, J Dragon, J Goblin in the chair.
Dragon, maybe?
Okay.
What the hell your name and shit?
What it looks like.
No.
Ah, Jesus Christ, your face is getting way. J Dragon.
We'll see if it's the right. Okay, yeah, that's the right one, I think.
See, I'm
Is it the? I don't know. Is it the? What's the first one I sent to you? I don't remember shit, dude. Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, that's the first one I sent to you. But yes, that lovely, lovely creature right there is the Lambton worm, which is from northeast England in the UK. Story takes place around the River Ware, and it's one of the area's most famous pieces of folklore. It states that a young John Lambton, he looks angry too, was a rebellious character who missed church one Sunday to go fishing in the River Ware. In many versions of the story, while walking to the river or setting up his equipment, John receives warnings from an old man that no good can come from missing church. John Lambton does not catch anything until the time the church service finishes, at which point he fishes out a small eel or lamprey-like creature with 9 holes on each side of its salamander-like head. Depending on the version of the story, the worm is no bigger than a thumb or about 3 feet long. So, size may vary based on stories. Sounds familiar. But in some renditions, it has legs, while in others it's said to more closely resemble a snake. At this point, the old man returns, because, you know, in the horror movies, the old man always returns to tell you that he was right. But although in some versions is a different character, John declares that he has caught the devil and decides to dispose of his catch by discarding it down a nearby well. The old man then issues further warnings about the nature of the beast. John then forgets about the creature and eventually grows up. As a penance for his rebellious earlier years, he joins the Crusades. Eventually, the worm grows extremely large and what becomes poisonous. The villagers start to notice livestock going missing and discover that the fully grown worm has emerged from the well and coiled itself around a local hill. In some versions of the story, the hill is Penshaw Hill, that on which the Penshaw Monument now stands. But locally, the credit goes to a nearby worm hill in Fatfield. Fatfield. Who the hell names their town Fatfield? But in most versions of the story, the worm is large enough to wrap itself around the hill 7 times. It is said that one can still see the marks of the worm on Worm Hill. It terrorizes the nearby villages, eating sheep, preventing cows from producing milk, and snatching away small children. Hey, I could use a worm in my house right now. Come. But it then heads towards Lambton Castle, where the Lord, John Lambton's aged father, manages to sedate the creature in what becomes a daily ritual, offering the worm milk of 9 good cows, 20 gallons, or a filled wooden stone trough, whatever. A number of brave villagers try to kill the beast, but are quickly dispatched. When a chunk is cut off the worm, it simply reattaches the missing piece. That's gangster. Visiting knights also try to assault the beast, but none survive. When annoyed, the worm would uproot trees by coiling its tail around them. It then create devastation by waving around the uprooted trees like a club. Holy fuck, this one's long. After 7 years, John Lambton returns from the crusade to find his father's estates almost destitute because of the worm. John decides to fight it, but first seeks the guidance of a wise woman or witch near Durham. The witch hardens John's resolve to kill the beast by explaining his responsibility for the worm. All right, so basically this witch is Yoda, but yeah. She tells him to cover his armor and spearheads and fight the worm in the River Ware, where it now spends its days wrapped around a great rock. She also tells John that after killing the worm, he must then kill the first living thing he sees, or else his family will be cursed for 9 generations and will not die in their beds. God forbid you won't die in your bed. Like, who dies in their bed most of the time anyway? But he prepares his armor according to the witch's instructions and arranges with his father that when he has killed the worm, he will sound his hunting horn 3 times. On the signal, his father is to release his favorite hounds that will run to John, who can then kill the dog and thus avoid the curse. John Lambton then fights the worm by the river. The worm tries to crush him, wrapping him in its coils, but it cuts itself on his armor spikes. As pieces of the worm are chopped off, they are washed away by the river, preventing the worm from healing itself. Eventually, the worm is dead, and John sounds his hunting horn 3 times. Unfortunately, John's father is so excited that the beast is dead that he forgets to release the hound and rushes up to congratulate his son. John cannot bear to kill his father, and so after they meet, the hound is released and dutifully dispatched. But it's too late, and 9 generations of Lambtons are cursed, so they shall not die peacefully in their beds.
Isn't it fucking
that was
crazy that Facebook writes everything you're saying in our video.
Yeah,
Wobbly
and-
blah, 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 blah. Good
yeah,
luck.
yeah. That was a freaking long one, man. But
Yeah, they didn't write it either. Posers.
well, that's the story of a big worm and why some family in England is now so cursed to this day. Probably you have to carry.
Deborah's descendants.
It'd be Deborah's ancestors, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They still follow the crown.
Yeah, but why don't you bring up the Goblin one now, Skiat? Because I couldn't do European cryptids and not do one of the best Harry Potter creatures, goblins. So
Goblin
now.
and chair. Here we go.
Oh,
Ah,
dude.
it looks like Scott on a Saturday night smoking his pipe.
Dude, I got
But-
gym membership. I'm getting yoked. Look at this little guy.
He just needs a good pedicure.
Are
and
you
he's-
saying my ears are big?
Hard to tell. I never could see them. But a goblin, as everybody knows, is a legendary evil or mischievous creature, a grotesquely evil or evil-like phantom. They are attributed with various, sometimes conflicting abilities, temperaments, and appearances depending on the story and country of origin. In some cases, goblins have been classified as constantly annoying little creatures, somewhat related to the gnome. They're usually depicted as small, sometimes only a few inches tall, sometimes the size of a dwarf, or even the size of a small child. They are often said to possess various magical abilities. They can be very greedy and love money. They can also shapeshift into animal forms in some stories. Their behavior is mostly trickster behavior, and they're known for rearranging items in the house, tangling horses, banging pots and pans, removing the clothes from sleeping humans. Oh yeah, that's why that happened. Knocking on doors and walls, and even digging up the graves to scatter the bones around. Goblins like to borrow horses and ride them all night long. God help those horses. But if a horse is tired in the morning, it is said a goblin rode it. If a horse is panicking, the goblin is trying to mount it. I say again, God help that horse. That sounds so dirty. But
Only in your
Gob-
books, buddy.
well, goblin women steal human babies, replacing them with ugly goblin babies. Goblin babies are sometimes known as oafs or crimbils. Mine goblins make knocking noises by striking pickaxes and hammers against stones. Some miners take the resulting sounds as a sign of good luck, believing they indicate the presence of rich deposits of ore. Others believe that they, kobolds and witlin, just imitate the miners to fool them. As a death companion, he is sometimes accused to cause underground fires or warn for the coming death. To avoid the knocker's wrath, a pasty, a traditional miner meal, should be left for them. They usually live in homes where they can make the most trouble for people who live there. Some others reside in mines where they search for treasure and trouble. Still others of the family prefer grottos, often residing in the same one for their entire life. One fabled origin for goblins is in France, in a cleft of the Pyrenees, from which they spread rapidly throughout Europe. They hitched a ride with Viking ships to get to Britain. Bryn y Elion, the Hill of the Goblins, is a place in Somerset. The Gap of Goblin is a hole in an underground tunnel in France, so people think it's where they may come from. And I didn't bother copying down the huge list of the first Goblin origin stories for every country because ain't nobody got time for that. And I don't think anybody wants to hear me say that. So, but what's next? Yeah, let's do the Sea Monk next, Scott. That's a little short one.
The monk bed.
Oh, look at that sexy beast right there. Looks like a nice Canadian gentleman for you, Deborah. I don't think she knows she's muted, but
Just drinking them American Slurpees.
Oh, my dog's being an asshole.
I put mine to bed for that reason. But the sea monk, or sometimes monkfish, is a type of merperson and was the name given to a sea animal found off the eastern coast of the Danish island of Zealand. Almost certainly in 1546, it was described as a fish that looked superficially like a monk. It is mentioned in picture in the 4th volume of Conrad Gessner's famous Historia Animalium. Gessner also referenced a similar monster found in the Firth of Forth, according to both theists. What the fuck were these names? And a sighting off the coast of Poland in 1531. Since the sea monk was caught in the same year as the bishop fish, it suggests that the two are related somehow. So yeah, Scott, the sea monk and the bishop fish walk into the bar.
And I eat them both.
I was gonna say actually that little spy whale you showed us. I wonder how he tasted.
You jerk. That was a little cutie patootie. You're gonna eat the whale?
Why ain't you gonna eat that ugly thing? If fish look that ugly, he ain't gonna taste no good. But
He doesn't know he's spying on America. I bet you he's
He's doing
America all
trips
the
and
way.
everything. He's cute. He's trying to entertain. He made friends.
He's like making TikToks off his back. Look at him.
All right, you can bring up the I believe you called it a Batman, even though it's not Batman.
Or UK Mothman.
Oh, maybe.
There we go.
That would be the owlman of Monan, or also called the Death Raptor. It was first reported in the rural village in Cornwall, England in 1976. The creature was described by 2 young girls as a giant human-sized owl. Over the next 30 years, more reports of the demonic beast were recorded. The sightings caused a collective madness in the community. Owlman is described as a half-man, half-owl, 4 to 5 feet tall with gray feathers and large clawed feet. It is said that Owlman makes loud screeching and hissing sounds. The Owlman of Monan is often compared with West Virginia's Mothman in cryptozoology because eyewitness accounts dictate similar qualities.
Yeah, what year did these people start citing this? I think they're trying to rip off America.
1976, which is similar to Mothman, which is why they're compared. But
Similar.
according to
Came
cryptozoology,
first.
they're both described as winged bird-like humanoids about 4 to 7 feet tall with a wingspan of about 10 feet. According to cryptozoologists, they both have large red glowing eyes and live in wooded areas near rural towns. Connections with Mothman, Owlman, what the fuck? That's horrible in English. Connections with Mothman and Owlman are also both associated with paranormal and UFO activity. During the mid-1970s, the area surrounding Monan Smith on the southern coast of Cornwall had been the site of UFO sightings, as well as reports of local domestic and wild animals acting strangely. Reports of dog attacks had tripled, and there were claims of people being held hostage by feral cats. Then at the beginning of 1976, the first reports of the Owlman started.
America came first, just to let our listeners know. Goddamn UK rip-offers.
That's where you're staking your claim there.
That's right. Mothman is ours. You didn't see it. These are all lies.
But technically Mothman, technically all these creatures have been sighted back since the beginning of time, if you go back far
We
enough.
saw it first, America.
Jeez.
Jesus, Scott. Well, you can bring up the last picture, Scott.
You got 2 more pictures there, buddy.
That's
I
probably the
forget.
scariest one that we've talked about so far tonight. That's the only one that kind of even looks, everything else is cute tonight.
Well, this last one's cute too. I don't know what the hell the other one you're
Yeah,
talking about, Scott.
maybe you do on that one. Okay, here we go. Turtle coming up.
Yes, that would be the zaratan. It's a large cryptid that has a giant sea turtle that has an island on its back. It is
Oh,
considered to be the
wow.
This
It
is
is-
actually what we live on. The earth is flat, people. Stop being a bunch of globies.
It is considered to be the largest cryptid, dwarfing a blue whale. It comes from a group story about a group of sailors whom they thought they found a deserted jungle island, but rather had encamped on the creature's back. It's a large sea turtle with an island on its back that is 1,000 feet long, said length dwarfing a blue whale. The creature's body mass is so large that it can hardly, if at all, move. The story is also believed to have spawned belief in the Kraken as well. And the sailors found out it wasn't an island when the zaratan started diving underwater with them on it. So bye sailors. And it actually holds the record for being the second largest cryptid, the Bermuda beast being the biggest. I never even heard of the Bermuda beast, so I don't know what the hell that is, but
There is no space. We live on a turtle.
you're gonna get us
You
canceled,
find it's
Scott.
like river rafting, but you're on a live turtle. You just need to train him to go where you want.
You're gonna get us canceled, Scott.
The firmament is real. It's written in the Bible, Jeremy. I'm talking with the flat earth dude. He's coming on. And like this dude has quite a big following. So if we can get him on the show, you do your show the next week, whoever it is. This dude is dope as fuck. You guys are gonna start believing in the flat earth. It's gonna be awesome. Hopefully we trick some people. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we trick him into thinking we actually believe his ass, but
Shush, Jeremy. He might listen to some of our episodes.
I wouldn't say that, but all right. Well, that means that next week would be over to Deborah, I believe.
It's Deborah.
Oh, no, what? Oh, I wasn't prepared for that. Dang it.
You never are.
No, I know. How does it come around to me so fast? I gotta think. I gotta think on that.
Well,
Next
think
week's
quick.
topic to be announced, listeners, and 10 to 1 will have to do with vampire somehow.
That's, we haven't talked about some vampires for a while. I do like them.
For a while. We haven't even hit our 1 year anniversary. Come
I
on
know.
now.
Okay, I'll come up with something good. Yeah. To be announced, sorry.
You'll have to wait to find out.
So which cryptid do you guys believe in the most? I'm going with Irish crocodile.
I mean, the owlman seems realistic because the mothman's real, so
Seems like UK stole it off of us, but
I feel like the rhinoceros breeding with the hippopotamus guy seems like that could be a thing.
hey, if ligers exist, then they could exist too.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
the other thing, the tie-ins.
Oh, hey, what about this for a topic? What if we talked about cloning? Like human clones, and there's a lot of talk about celebrities. Did we talk about this already?
No, we
I
did
did.
doppelgangers, not cloning.
I
What
thought
about actual cloning?
I thought we did a cloning episode too at Scott's request.
No, I did doppelgangers.
Maybe, I don't know.
Cloning it
no,
is.
Cloning. Maybe no one's real. Maybe we're all just clones.
Yeah.
If I'm a clone of somebody, then I need to go have a speak with a manufacturer somewhere.
This is all just a simulation and we're living on a turtle. Surrounded by the firmament.
Hopefully it's a freaking mutant ninja turtle.
Take that into effect, all you listeners. We could have been created last Thursday in the simulation.
Possible. Very possible.
It is possible. Think about it. Okay.
That's it. That's all, folks.
That's what she said, folks. How do I stop this? And
Jesus.
Jesus.